Welcome everyone, it's Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, websites by plebes or plebs. Drop us a like, subscribe, go into the numbers.
Number time!
At the time of this recording, the block height is 694,218. The Bitcoin price, 39,925. Chain rewrite days, 1,069. Total public Lightning capacity, 2,149.83. Bitcoin versus gold market cap, 6.33%. And sats per dollar, 2,505. Yeah.
Hey, phenomenal numbers.
Yeah, a little pump today, fake pump. It's nice. Why not? Makes people happy.
Yeah, good numbers.
Makes you smile. It's like, why not?
Is the Lightning Network, is it holding steady or did it increase?
Oh, yeah. No, it's nice, man. Look, what was it? Yesterday, I think it was at 2,144, and now we're at 2,149.
Oh, so it keeps crawling up, bro.
Yeah, it does.
Crazy. Overall, good numbers, but it's just consolidation, like you said.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's time for
the daily fail. Nico, you're our fail. No, you're not. Okay, but this was pretty funny, right? Because we knew that we were going to get some crap for that daily fail segment, and well, we're not going to read the contents of the entire tweets, but here we go. These two comments were made on Monday's Simply Bitcoin TV episode where we said the BSV network was prone to a 51% attack. We had no idea the attack would happen the next day. We tried to warn you shitcoiners, and you insulted us for it. Have fun staying poor. Indeed, okay? And no joke, less than approximately 24 hours later, right? This is what we get, right? We end up seeing that there indeed was an issue. The BSV chain has been suffering from repeated reorgs from a party with superior hash rate. Oh my God. Now, thanks to this kind of careful intervention, BSV is additionally suffering from a split network as some nodes artificially reject certain blocks, breaking the consensus rules. Okay? Here we go. Different BSV block explorers currently disagree on the last 100 plus blocks of history, with Tal owned what's on chain. You remember that hash rate chart with 63% of it owned by... Forget it. That's okay. I'm sure that's irrelevant. Owned what's on chain and Calvin's miners, now following the original Tal mine chain, even though it has significantly less work. Satoshi's vision. And here we go. Not all of Calvin's miners got the memo, it seems, and have been mining on the reorg chain, which Calvin's other properties reject. Not that I really want to dive into all of this shitcoinery, but there's links to all of this for you guys if you want to dig through. But look, it's one of those moments. It's we told you so, right? It just so happened that it happened much sooner than later. But look, the reality is that nobody needs an enterprise blockchain, okay? No company needs an incredibly slow database, okay? I work with SQL databases for, part of what I do for a living is work with SQL databases. And I can tell you, you need the speed of the information. And having an extremely slow public blockchain, which in this case is not even public, it's completely private, it's useless. Like, why would you give this third-party entity your information to manage very slowly? It's like, here's money, and I want you to handicap our corporation, Nico. I want you to make it terrible, and I want you to control the means of my data. These guys are such clowns. Anyways, we told you it's not real Bitcoin.
Dude, it's crazy. It was like some cosmic justice, man. We said it literally the day before. That Tal.com could easily 51% attack the BSV network. And remember, like, all the excuses in the comment were like, the copyright. How's that copyright working out for you, huh? How's that working out for you? Right? That copyright isn't going to stop. That copyright isn't going to stop a 51% attack. It's not. Calvin and the fake Satoshi can have every type of paperwork and this and this and that, but it's just a matter of fact, right? If more than 50%, and in this case it's 61 or 63%, if more than 50% of the hash rate is controlled by one entity, they can double spend. That's how it works, right? And no matter how much, fancy words they use and all this BS and blah, 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 like, that's just a fact. Like, that is literally the weak point of Bitcoin, right? But Bitcoin has reached a level of decentralization, right, where a 51% attack is economically unfeasible because of the amount of decentralization. You can't say the same about BSV. And besides, why would you want to use a chain? It's exactly what you said, Phil. Why would you want to use a network that's controlled by one guy? Doesn't that defeat the purpose of a cryptocurrency? I don't know, just a thought.
It's such ridiculous garbage. And you know what? We're probably going to get more hate for this because we don't understand it. It's all lies, okay? Bitcoin, because of SegWit, it ignores the natural rules of the programming and blah, blah, and all of this complete nuanced garbage speak, okay, that means absolutely nothing, okay? Bitcoin has the securest, it has the most secure chain. It has the most secure network. Stop with the shitcoining and the fake Bitcoin.
It's like by magnitudes of 1,000. It's like it's not even close.
Insane.
It's not even close. And it's like, no, but he has the copyright. It's like, man, that doesn't matter. I'm telling you, that doesn't matter. What matters is the amount of computational power backing up the network. That's literally what matters, right? And the amount of nodes located all around the world, right? That's what matters. Like, I could even say, Phil, like the price isn't even that relevant, right? What really matters is the hash rate and the amount of nodes backing up the network.
He doesn't even really have the copyright. That was one judge in a place where everybody wins those kinds of crappy cases, okay? Yeah. It meant absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's garbage. And all it is show. And it totally works for the people that are sitting there with these giant bags of not frickin' Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways.
And listen, this is, we told you so, right? It just happened to happen the day after we told you so. That was unplanned. We had no idea, but yeah. Anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily Meme Review.
All right, everybody, the meme for today is brought to us by a meme lord, Greg Zag1. We just recently had him on the show. We love his memes. Anyways, let's check out the meme. Bitcoiners interacting with normies like, why do we pay taxes if you can just print infinite dollars? Who the F starts a conversation like that? I just said, man, that's me. I don't have any normal friends anymore.
It's true. We immediately go right for it.
Oh man,
it's brutal.
And they're like, "Why do you care so much?" It's like, "Bro, you don't understand what's going on, man. Like, you don't get it." And they're like, "Bro, I just want to have a beer." Yeah, I totally get that meme. That's why I want to review it. And for that meme, I'm gonna give a very special score of Lucio Paletti's keychain.
Wow,
it's his Yoshi mask. Yeah,
very nice.
Ooh.
I remember those. How long have you had that one?
I got it with the sticker pack, which I know you got too.
Oh, nice.
What about you, Phil?
Yeah, that was, I mean, look, that totally explains any one of us showing up to any kind of a social event with a bunch of normies. So that totally didn't surprise me. And you know what? For that meme, I am giving it, it's going to be a tough one here, but I'm going for it anyways. It's my half-drank Dr. Pepper diabetes drink.
Ooh.
That's right. Soft drinks cause the diabetes.
They do. But Dr. Pepper is delicious.
Dr. Pepper is 23 flavors of conspiracy. So, did you ever notice that it has 23 flavors?
I did. I read it on the can.
Yep.
The first time I drank Dr. Pepper was because I saw it in Forrest Gump. And he's like, I love Dr. Pepper. And then he drinks it. I was like, I gotta try this, and I tried it. And I was like, that's freaking delicious, man. Forrest
Gump. It kind of tastes like Coke, but not really.
It's a step above, bro. To be honest,
I don't know if we might make some enemies with that. Some people are gonna be like, "What? You just say about Coke? What?"
You're talking to someone
and now somebody else is sitting there going, "What? Not Pepsi?" Like everyone's gonna get all upset.
Oh, it's true. Hey guys, let us know down in the comments. What's your favorite soft drink, I guess. Anyways, and join our Telegram group. Give us some links to review because it's a meme review.
Links to meme.
Yeah, the links to the memes. Don't drop just links. Just drop meme. Anyways, Phil, it's time for it.
The Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks.
All right, Phil, check this out. Some very bullish stats, graphs. We don't really talk about the price, but if you put the price as the noise, check out the signal. The hash rate continues to recover. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this is after a nation state bans Bitcoin mining. And of course, because of the difficulty adjustment and the incentives that I keep bringing up, Bitcoin has the best incentives, right? Literally, the Bitcoin hash rate keeps going up. That's a good thing. That's a recovery of the network. We've talked about the hash rate many times on the show. But more importantly, Phil, check this out. The number of addresses with the non-zero balance, right? You can infer this is the amount of users joining the Bitcoin network, and it continues to go parabolic into 2021, right? Very, very, very bullish numbers, right? And of course, we don't like to talk about the price on this show, but if the hash rate continues to go up and the amount of users joining the network continues to go up, it's not rocket science. You can infer the rest. Phil?
Wow. I love seeing those. You know what? Those user numbers are like the lightning numbers. That's the signal. That's the signal right there. I mean, yes, we all understand the number go up and all of that, psychological brainwashing that we're all used to. But at the end of the day, this is really what we're looking for. More and more people are understanding Bitcoin, looking at Bitcoin, choosing to store their value in Bitcoin. And as a result, that all-important adoption curve is just absolutely parabolic. And it's awesome to see. We've got the hash rate picking up. We got the users picking up. We've got Lightning Network picking up, right? And I think I feel like I saw a really interesting tweet from Roast Beef today about something that's coming to Lightning. I'm so drawing a blank. The memory address I was trying to reach is unavailable.
But anyways, Phil, more bullish news, right? Check this out. This was enormous, okay? Fidelity buys 7.4% of Bitcoin mining company Marathon Digital Holdings across multiple funds. Now, again, that's noise. Here's the signal. On July 22nd, Fidelity Investment purchased 7.4% worth approximately $20 million, blah, 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 blah. But here, check out the bottom part. Though the percentage in each devoted to Marathon is tiny, many of these index funds are popular in retirement accounts, right? So essentially what's happening, ladies and gentlemen, is, again, we're seeing Bitcoin creep into the mainstream, right? So now you might have a retirement account, and you might have exposure to Bitcoin, which you probably don't even know of, right? And you're seeing this, right? Bitcoin is now becoming mainstream in the eyes of institutions, right? The risk that they foresaw in the past is not there as much anymore. Again, this isn't direct exposure to Bitcoin. Fidelity isn't just buying Bitcoin, right? But at the same time, if you're buying a Bitcoin mining company, it's essentially the same thing because the ticker of that company is going to follow the price very closely. So I guess you could say it's indirect exposure, but the signal there, right, is that a lot of retirement pensions are going to have exposure to Bitcoin, and that's incredibly bullish. Phil?
When I see news like this, it always makes me think of Peter Schiff and how nobody cares about gold. That's what this makes me think of. I see this, I see news like this. It's like, hey, we want to get exposure to Bitcoin. So you got all these retirement accounts, right? These people are clamoring to get exposure to Bitcoin and have that as part of their asset blend. And at the end of the day, nobody gives a shit about gold. And it's just funny. It's just funny to me because it's like Bitcoin is this thing that they wish gold would have been, but it's not. So they, people like Peter Schiff just sit there and get all salty about Bitcoin. So that's why it just made me think of that, right? Like you never really hear about like some index fund, proudly saying, you know what, we've got 5% exposure to gold. All right. Everyone's like, oh, nice. They're actually looking out for us. Nobody cares.
Nobody
cares. They're like, give me some stocks that are going to go up 100% year over year. Give me anything. Give me Bitcoin, right? Nobody cares about getting that.
Dude,
anyway, sorry. I don't know why. It makes me think of that. I don't know why.
Isn't it hilarious though? It's like, who's gonna tell? Like, Peter Schiff is starting to sound like a maniac, right? This man has been literally yelling at the sky for 10 years, saying that Bitcoin has no value, but the price keeps going up. Like, who's going to tell him? At what point like, does he belong? Like, does he need to see a psychologist? Because it's like, man, like, you could tell us anything you want. You could say it has no value, but the price says otherwise. Like, who are you kidding? I'm confused.
I'm calling it now. I think it's all a giant show to make sure that his son becomes relevant and stays relevant, and then does some sort of a business thing. I could be dead wrong, but you know what? It just seems like, I mean, really, does he really not get it? I mean, some of the biggest Bitcoiners were hardened gold bugs. Okay? I mean, I think he gets it. I think he gets it, and he knows that, like, Bitcoin is the better gold. You know? Like, that's what it is. It does it all. And the best part is that it doesn't need some stupid utility use case. You know, which is, again, right? Like, this was fantastic when we were all cavemen, you know, and we had to resort back to something like that. But the reality is that that's not where we're at anymore. We don't need it to do that. We just need it to be good money. That's what we need it to be, good money. And Bitcoin is the best money. So anyways, yep. These companies adding Bitcoin as their asset blends, and they are not adding stuff like gold.
Nope. They're going with the honey
Nobody
badger, and of course that is the orange part. That is Bitcoin. But anyways, Phil, an update on the infrastructure bill. I know we've been covering it a lot this week. We said yesterday that it looked like some senators are going to offer an amendment. Today they released the announcement, and essentially, let me share the tweet. This is essentially like a lobbyist or some type of DC swamp person. Lobbyist for the industry, and she's been covering what's going on. So,
Marianne Shitcoin, let's go.
Marianne Shitcoin. So when it comes to this, right, the Bitcoin and shitcoin industry came together to fight the sneaky stuff. But anyways, an update to yesterday's reporting. This came out today. Senator Ted Cruz has filed an amendment to strike the Bitcoin and shitcoin provision from the infrastructure bill. Ted Cruz knows what's up. Senator Ron Wyden, Cynthia Lummis, and Senator Toomey have filed an amendment to make clear that miners are not part of this bill. We talked about this yesterday. They filed the amendment today. Here is the announcement from Cynthia Lummis. Phil, since this announcement from a senator, could you read it?
Yeah, sure. So here we go. Senate Finance Committee Chair Ron Wyden.
Oregon, Democrat.
Is that Democrat?
Democrat, Oregon, yeah.
Senator Cynthia Lummis, Republican, Wyoming, and Senator Pat Toomey, Republican, I'm guessing Pennsylvania, today filed an amendment clarifying the definition of broker with respect to digital asset third-party reporting requirements.
Yeah, so, and we're gonna link the amendment down if you guys want to go through the legalese, right? But it's just important to cover how sneaky this was. Here's a tweet from Jerry Brito. He works for Coin Center. Again, that's kind of like the lobbying arm for the Bitcoin and shitcoin industry. And check out how sneaky this was, right? Because this is what he says. If the provision does not cover, right, and he's talking about the crypto tax provision, if the provision does not cover software brokers, crypto miners, node operators, or other non-brokers, then there is no reason not to accept the Wyden, Lummis, Toomey amendment, which only does just that. There's no harm in making it clear. Now, look how shady this is from this politician, right? This is Senator Rob Portman. I think he was one of the original authors of the bipartisan infrastructure bill. If I'm not mistaken, he's a Republican from Ohio. Anyways, check out how sneaky this is, Phil. The legislation does not impose new reporting requirements on software developers, crypto miners, and node operators or other non-brokers. But as Jerry Brito to say, like, they're doing that to cast a wide net.
He's being a scumbag.
It's like it doesn't cover it, but it's also giving the government a big stick just in case they want to hit you with it later down the road, right? So, again, guys, we're almost in the clear. We said yesterday was a victory. That was a small victory in the battle. Now, this is going to go to vote in the Congress, this amendment. Now, it's very important. Just like on Saturday, we asked you to contact your senators. We put the contact information down below again. And this website makes it super easy. It's called fightforthefuture.org. And there's a link, and we're going to put it down in the link description, like I said. Red alert, call the Senate to save Bitcoin and shitcoins. You put in your phone number and your zip code if you live in the US. And again, blow up their phone and say, Senator, blah, blah, blah. I support, this amendment to the bill. Now, there's a lot of comments in the previous video saying, listen, Nico, you shouldn't care. Alex Gladstein said, listen, we're just going to develop open software so they wouldn't stop us. Now, I agree with all that. If all else fails, we could always rely on taking self-custody, running our own nodes, have a Bitcoin circular economy, and just say, F yourselves to the government. That is all fine and dandy. But I might add, Phil, it's going to make our lives significantly easier. And remember, China banned Bitcoin mining within the country, and that gave the United States a tremendous opportunity. Now, if we squander that opportunity because some deep state swamp creature bureaucrats in DC want to kill it because they want to protect the central banks and the treasury and all that BS, that's not a very smart move, right? We want as much hash rate, right, in the United States of America as possible. That's an opinion of mine, and I think I agree with a lot of you guys in the comments saying, listen, we shouldn't care about this, we should just FF, whatever. I agree with all that. You're talking to someone who's a hardcore Bitcoiner. I get it, right? But at the same time, we don't have the luxury of just turning our heads in the opposite direction. If we want Bitcoin to become a world reserve currency like we do, eventually we're going to have to clash with the state, right? And we want favorable laws with the state eventually, right? Again, if all else fails, we could always rely on self-custody. We could always rely on our nodes. But if we have the opportunity to fight, why not fight? Phil, is that wrong to say that?
No, it's not. And the reality is that, ignoring it doesn't make it go away, right? Ignoring it does not make it go away. And I want to go back to something that you said. It's interesting, right? Because Ted Cruz, isn't he in Texas?
Yes, that's why.
Aren't they? Yeah, it's like, aren't they getting like a massive influx of money?
That's why he voted for the amendment. Let's take this out completely. I agree with Ted Cruz.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Hey, Ted. Shout out to Ted.
but I think Cynthia Lummis is being smart because she knows that amendment that Ted Cruz has proposed, that's not gonna pass. So they're essentially making an amendment where it's like both parties win. In my opinion, I think it's bullshit, Phil, that they snuck this in. Very sneaky at, literally 2 minutes before midnight to try to sneak this in while no one was looking. I think the industry reacted savagely, right? We almost have this over the finish line, right? It just requires action, action, action. Phil?
Man, they are such, it is such absolute, and it just goes to show how much respect and how much anybody cares about the average person, right? It's all about their clubs and their stupid, ridiculous circle jerk, Like, it's got nothing to do with doing anything right, for the average person to help and it's so despicable because they are, at the end of the day, whether they want to accept it or not, average people, just like everyone else, right? Everyone shits, pisses, and dies. So it's like, it's fact of life, unfortunately. So these people, it just makes it much worse that they're doing stuff like this. And I'm really... So look, I agree that, like, okay, fine, if we create open software, we shouldn't have to deal with the laws, like to the comments, right, in our video. But at the same time, to your point, Nico, I do agree, like, we can't ignore it, right? Because if we ignore it, they will absolutely steamroll us, and we will end up, we may have this open software, but we may end up with more hurdles than we have now if we don't face it now, right? Like, it's like, think of it like this. It's like, if we don't face it now, it's the same thing as our bubbles, right? Because we didn't do the right thing with our economic bubbles, they've gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, which means when they actually break, it's going to be much worse. This is the same thing with this. If we don't start now with the legislation and get into this battle now, we are going to be facing a much bigger, more difficult enemy after the fact. So
absolutely. And
interesting times ahead, my friend.
Interesting time. This is the Then They Fight You stage. We've been talking about this for months now. We've been saying this is coming. It's here. We have to take action, action, action.
I feel like we're getting screwed.
Yeah, we are totally getting screwed, right? But we have to fight back, man. If we don't fight back, you're just laying down and just letting them, do whatever they want with you. But listen, guys, I know that we've been covering this a lot this week, but it is extremely important. This amendment is gonna be voted on this week, right? And this infrastructure bill it should be voted on literally by this weekend or by Monday, right? So we'll start covering it by then. But because it's so important, we've been covering it a lot this week, and we're going to cover it till, we find out what happens. But anyways, Phil, there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. All right, we've got a Lightning Pool version 0.5.1 alpha that was released. And Pool is essentially a way that you can sell your liquidity on the Lightning Network, right? So essentially, you can read up on it. The details are down below in the show notes, but it's really interesting stuff. I've looked into it a bit, not as much as I should. I think Pool is going to be really, really cool going forward. Yeah, I didn't mean to rhyme. Anyways.
Awesome. I have to check it out. Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys. That was our show. You know what to do. If you enjoyed the show, smash that like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fiat and shitcoin fails and the Bitcoin news from the pleb perspective, definitely consider subscribing. And we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
George is getting upset.